Alright, so if I asked you to tell me who you think the most iconic movie villain ever is, you'd probably say someone like Darth Vader, the Joker, Hannibal Lecter, and all of those answers are perfectly acceptable, sure. But there's one guy that's so cold-blooded, so manipulative, and so dangerous that we haven't even seen him on screen in over 30 years. I'm of course talking about none other than Feathers McGraw, who makes his long-awaited return in this movie. Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Fowl is the newest entry in the claymation animated franchise, and this time Wallace invents a smart lawn gnome that will do all of his yard work and household chores at the push of a button. But when his latest invention seems to develop a mind of its own, it's up to Gromit to find out who's behind this change in personality and save the day once again. So I'll start this one off by saying that I have always been a massive Wallace and Gromit fan. I even have the complete collection on Blu-ray, and it honestly just stays in my player at all times from how often I'm making people watch some of the shorts with me. But pretty much everything Aardman does is funny, smart, and filled to the brim with passion, and I mean it kinda has to be, right? Because you have to have the patience of a saint if you're willing to sit there and make entire stop-motion movies out of these little clay figurines. I barely want to take a couple minutes to brush my teeth in the morning, and these guys are out here moving Gromit a centimeter at a time for years on end. So as someone who thinks the Wallace and Gromit short film The Wrong Trousers, where we first meet the legendary Feathers McGraw, is absolute perfection, this new movie where he's brought back was gonna have some very big shoes to fill. And after seeing the film for myself, I don't think that it has the smarts and the originality that I've come to expect from this franchise over the years, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't still an exciting and entertaining romp of an adventure. Now to kick things off, we need to briefly touch on the visuals at play here for a second, because Aardman always needs to be commended for the level of care and detail they apply to everything and anything they work on, and that again remains to be true with this latest Wallace and Gromit outing. Their claymation style is as polished and timeless as ever, all of the characters look just how you remember them, and the sets continue to be these impressively crafted dioramas that would probably make your head spin if you think about how many man-hours went into building them. What's truly amazing though is the amount of physical comedy they're always able to inject into all of their projects, especially when you consider that they need to contort these models inch by inch, and how many non-verbal characters are in the mix like Gromit and my man Feathers McGraw. I mean, that guy's more expressive than I am, if I'm being honest. But these movies always have such a unique charm to them, and their mastery of this animation style is a big reason for that. They slaughter all competitors in that regard. Jumping off of the visuals though, I feel like if you're not a fan of this franchise, on the surface it probably wouldn't seem like it has some of the best action sequences ever put to film when it comes to the animation medium, but more often than not, it somehow feels like you're watching a warm and cozy version of Mission Impossible. Feathers McGraw being a jewel thief and Gromit acting as a wannabe detective really puts these characters into a position to get their hands dirty and opens up the possibility for some of the most ridiculous altercations to occur. They don't quite match the action-packed highs of what they had going on in The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, which is the other feature-length Wallace and Gromit adventure, but there's still enough here to have you smiling at the screen as these two legends duke it out once again. Let's get into talking about the actual plot they decided to go with here, because I think that's really where the majority of my criticisms lie, even though it's still pretty solid. The story this time around is charming and quirky, which is definitely to be expected from a Wallace and Gromit film, but I don't know if it really veered into new territory when you look at some of their past adventures. Don't get me wrong, the situations our characters find themselves in are creative, and the themes they explore are meaningful, but it just feels like stuff they've tackled before already. Obviously, bringing Feathers McGraw back into the fold is something that people have wanted for a very long time, myself included, trust me, but I just don't know if his involvement in this specific story was all that justified, and he doesn't really end up doing nearly as much as I wanted him to. He might barely have more screen time here as he did in The Wrong Trousers, which is only 1/3 the length of this new film's runtime. I wish we got a story that utilized him in a better way, but this dude is such a bad egg that whenever he's involved with what's going on, it's still pretty satisfying. Overall, guys, I definitely enjoyed my time with Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Fowl. It's yet another entertaining and exciting entry in one of my favorite franchises, but I don't know if it's a film that I'm gonna find the need to revisit every so often like I do with their earlier adventures. The themes have been explored before, and the inclusion of Feathers McGraw wasn't as developed as I would have hoped, but everything here is still so charming and creative that it's hard not to get swept up in the fun along the way. Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Fowl gets a Sully score of 3.5 stars. So that's my review for the latest Aardman film. What do you think is your favorite movie they've ever made? I obviously have to go with The Wrong Trousers, but let me know in the comments below what you think. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys at the next one.